Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Justin again. Here to review another movie. Rocking my Cam Newton jersey. Love Cam. Can't wait. Think he's gonna do well this year for the Pats. Bring home number 7, maybe. We'll see. We're here to review another movie. This movie I chose is Spike Lee's BlackkKlansman, starring John David Washington, Adam Driver, and Topher Grace. Love this movie. Came out a few years ago. It's such an incredibly bizarre story. It's hard to believe it's true, but it is. Directed by Spike Lee, controversial director. Some people love him, some people hate him, some people think that he, is too over the top in his beliefs, but that's what makes him special. He's had a lot of amazing movies. Finally won an Oscar for BlackkKlansman for Best Adapted Screenplay, I believe it was. Like I said, such a bizarre story. It's hard to believe it's true, but John David Washington nails it as Ron Stallworth. For those of you who haven't seen it, don't know who Ron Stallworth was, he was the first detective in the Colorado State Police Department. First black detective, I should say, in the 1970s. Goes undercover into the Ku Klux Klan. A black man goes undercover in the Ku Klux Klan. It's such a bizarre story, but Stallworth, using his real name, infiltrates the Ku Klux Klan with the aid of a Jewish detective, a fellow Jewish detective. And, it's such a silly story, but it's such an amazing movie. It's got comedy. It's got really powerful moments as well. It had to have been difficult, the racism that I'm sure he faced as a black man in the first black detective in a police force. Unfortunately, we still live in a society where there is bigotry and hatred, and it's hard to see and think about, but it's true. It has been true. Will probably continue to be true. But John David Washington really, really just is incredible in the movie. So entertaining. Clearly he inherited his father's acting abilities. His father, Denzel, one of the greatest actors of all time. We'll really delve into his movies as well. One of those actors that is so diverse, can act in action, comedy, drama. But definitely John David Washington inherited his father's acting chops. And Adam Driver is incredible as his partner, whereas John David Washington's character, Ron Stallworth, is the voice of the character. Adam Driver's character is the embodiment of the character, and that's how they go undercover. Topher Grace is fantastic as David Duke, former leader in the Ku Klux Klan. It's crazy to say he's fantastic as a vile human being, such as David Duke. That's how I look at him. Some people respect the man. I think Topher Grace did the best he could with such a wicked person to portray. Spike Lee, the setting is fantastic. He keeps it, simple. And he gets the most out of his actors. He does that in a lot of his films. He's acted with he directed Denzel and Malcolm X. He's directed a lot of big time actors, and this was really a big step for John David Washington. He had done the show Ballers with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but this was his first big movie, and it was very successful, and for good reason. It's such a crazy story, like I said. to have a black man infiltrating the Ku Klux Klan and doing it successfully, for that matter, makes it such an entertaining movie. And, you know, everybody's character in it really works. You know, you have the bigotry that Ron Stallworth faces. You have the overlooking of the bigotry, and, you know, if you're going to get, you know, the mindset being that, you know, if you think you're going to infiltrate the Ku Klux Klan and you can't handle the ignorance of the people you work with, then how are you ever going to be successful in this operation? And that's what a lot of the story is about. And again, not enough good things can be said about this movie, BlackkKlansman. And for that alone, it's in the eights. It's one of Spike Lee's better movies, in my opinion, especially in the last 10, 15 years or so. Ranks right up there with the likes of Malcolm X, which, you know, a lot of people might consider to be his opus, you know, his biggest movie to date. But BlackkKlansman's up there, and I think, you know, with the performances he got out of Adam Driver and John David Washington and Topher Grace and all the other supporting characters, I'm going to go 8.3. Yeah, I think 8.3 is, you know, it's something I can watch repeatedly, and I wouldn't get sick of it, you know, because it has that comedy aspect to it, but it's got that realism, you know, that obviously Ron Stallworth must have faced, and how he looked bigotry in the eye and said, bring it on. And John David Washington does an amazing job of embodying that character. So for that, like I said, 8.3, BlackkKlansman, definitely recommend it. And I'll see you again at the movies.